Hi, Armoured Pants here, and I have another tank for you in the German line. This is the Tier 7 light tank, the SP1C, affectionately known to Blitzers as the Spec, as in spick and span. Now, as always, we will have a tech review. Before we begin, let's talk a little bit about what's for dinner, and specifically with regard to the SP1C, because this is a very difficult tank to play, and there are several reasons for that. Firstly, it's worse than its predecessor, the VK2801. It's slower, it has no armour, and has a worse gun, so not a good combo. So it's not easy. It's also a very unforgiving tank, because with that lack of armour, etc., it's easy prey. So, what's for dinner? Well, if you're not careful, it's you in your SP1C, in your Spec. You will be on the menu, and you are breakfast for the likes of a Borsig, an ISU, etc. So also, by the way, if you have not yet watched it, watch the light tank guide on channel, because this is a typical light tank. Before we go into tech spec, again, I'd like to draw your attention to something else, and this is the formula for penetration. This is the formula for shell penetration. This is the F formula developed by the US Navy back in the early 1900s, and it still holds true today. What I'd like to draw your attention to is projectile velocity, which is V, and V is squared. Therefore, muzzle velocity, the shell velocity, is key to penetration. And why am I bringing it up here? Because this tank has very low muzzle velocity, and that affects its play style. And we will go into that a little bit more as we look at the tech spec. But it's important to understand that muzzle velocity has an exponential effect as it's squared in armor penetration. And when it's lower, it affects your performance exponentially. Now let's have a look at the tech spec and blitzhanger.com. Now, I would use the chocolate bar here to get the view range up to 308, because you're so vulnerable in this tank. The better the view range, the better the advantage. There are two good options. There's the single shot and the autoloader. I've got two games for you, one in each. They play slightly differently. The DPM is better in the single shot, as you can see, but the autoloader, of course, gives you advantages in brawls, etc. But let's have a look at playing both, as we will have a game with both guns. Each is 90 caliber, each does the same damage, same penetration. The only difference is that the autoloader has two shells in the magazine. The single shot has obviously one and a 6.5 second reload, as opposed to just over 3 seconds per shell in the autoloader. Now, looking at the muzzle velocity, see here, it is 630 without supercharge, so it's very poor. And this means that for sniping, it is not good. Even with supercharge, it only goes up to just over 800 meters per second, which for a tier 7 is really low. Heat is the premium round, and this also is a problem because with spaced armor, particularly in the IS range, heat does not go through, or does go through very poorly. So therefore, if you're up against an IS or an IS3 or an IS6, which you will be when you're up tiered in this, you can't pen from the side with your premium round. What does all this mean? Well, this means that the game style in this means that you need to get up close and personal in this tank. And that, of course, is extremely risky, especially when you've got no armor, as this tank does not. If we look here at the armor profile, you can see it is non-existent. The tank just does not have an armor profile. It does have a rear mounted turret, but that's not really an issue in gameplay because you're not going to be side scraping in this thing. And it does have 360 turret, unlike say the AMX electric biscuit. It has a full turret rotation, but the turret rotation is slow, so be aware of that. So you need to rotate the tracks if you're standing still and move around the tank when not standing still. You need to run 2 repair kits because you do not want to get permatracked in this thing, and it's fast enough so you don't need the engine accelerator. Again, looking here front on, we can see it doesn't matter what tier you're up against, you are getting penned. In terms of tactics, it says here peekaboo, hit and run, etc. Long range sniping, as you can see, is not recommended, and that is down to the poor muzzle velocity. So really this is sort of an ambush tank, and it is really an up close and personal tank. You are kind of like the guy at a gunfight who has a knife. You need to get up close to do some damage. Because of the poor muzzle velocity, if you're firing over distance, you may not pen. Because of the heat, as your premium rounds, regardless of what gun you use, you're not going to pen things with spaced armour, and all of the IS range has spaced armour from distance. So therefore you need to get up close, use your APCR rounds to put in damage close up. But of course that presents a lot of difficulty because this tank has no armour. If you get up close, you're going to get smashed. People will fire HE rounds at you all day long. Even medium caliber guns will pen you with HE rounds, and anything big is going to pen you even front on with a HE round. As I said, Borsig, you're a Borsig breakfast, you're an ISU snack, and you really are just going to be spammed with HE, so you need to be very careful about that. Here again we see 3.5 second reload on the autoloader, 6.5 seconds on the single shot, which means the single shot has higher DPM, but the autoloader of course has other advantages, particularly if you're in a brawl and something is a two-shot to you. Now we're going to start off with the single shot. I'm going to scout A because I am in a light tank and that is my job. So I'm going to push forward. You can see the tank is very fast. It gets around the map really well. You're also a very small target, as you can see. So the advantage that you have over things with big guns is that you have a advantage in your size and speed, and they have relatively long aiming time, so you may get away with some shots in that respect. You can see here close up, as long as it's not over 300 to 400 meters, you can pen relatively well. Once you go over 300 meters, because of that low muzzle velocity, your penetration is going to drop significantly, and you will notice that many shots you'll take from long distance just won't pen, and that's the reason. And that's why we looked at the formula for penetration, armor penetration at the start, and saw the importance of muzzle velocity in that. And we need to note the lack of muzzle velocity with this tank. But here we are, now we're in the best place for this tank. We're up close and personal. Again, using the speed maneuverability of the tank, even against a medium tank like this, you can outmaneuver it. You saw that he missed one shot there. I got away from him, now I can come back. Already reloaded. Fire into him again. He pens me, but then he was always going to pen me because I don't have any armor. But my faster reload and maneuverability allows me to get in, get the kill. Now, again, using the speed of the tank, we're going to move around, see if we can get in to ambush some of these tanks. The AT-8 here, this is a typical ambush target for me. However, I get into a spot of trouble here because it's not just me and the AT-8, which I do get around quite well. The Nash horn comes to help him, and that creates a problem for me because then I'm against two tanks and they kind of get me in a bit of a crossfire. But you will see how the maneuverability of the SP1C, of the Spec man, gets me out of a very, very sticky situation, which is coming up here. Now, we can see there that the gun is not as reliable as most German guns. It didn't pen the AT-8 even from the back. I had to zoom in to pen, but now the Nash horn has come to help him. Now I'm in a spot of bother here because I have two tanks pushing onto me. The Nash horn hits me again, and this is not a good situation. So let's take a pause there. This is a sticky situation, but look at how maneuverable this tank is, even backwards up a hill, gets me out of trouble. And that is the beauty of this tank. That is its main skill, its main USP, its main advantage is its maneuverability, its agility, and its speed. So getting away from two tanks like this backwards up a hill, you cannot do in most tanks. But for the little SP1C, it's no problem. Gets me out of all sorts of trouble there. And now I can use my advantage of my speed, and while they are still deciding what to do, they're coming after me, I'm still safe. And I can put 2 rounds into this KB3, take him down to a one shot for me and my teammates. And my fast reload, my maneuverability allows me to put one into Nash horn. And now we see that this is my advantage. This is where this tank comes into its own. Speed, maneuverability. These guys can't get a shot on me. Doesn't matter, even though there's 2 of them. They're not getting shots onto me. And again, look here. Now we see the gun is reliable up close. When there is not a long distance to be fired over, the gun is reliable. This is why they said it's an up close and personal weapon. You are the knife at the gunfight. If that shot had been over 300 meters or more, I would not have made it with this gun. But up close and personal, the tank is reliable. Fluff that shot there. Thought I'd get him on a drive-by, but you see the maneuverability of the shot and the reliability of the 6.5 second reload. I'm able to reload again, and now we've turned this game around. And now we're 3v1 situation. Now I come in here on the Black Prince. I'm going to use my maneuverability. I'm making him miss shots, etc. But he's a good player. He pushes in on me. He forces me to move away from the cover I'm in. And then my teammate doesn't really help me out here, because if you just watch here, my teammate blocks me as I'm trying to drive away, and I get smashed by the fast reload of the Black Prince. So the AMX was coming in there for the kill. Coming in, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say to help me out, but in actuality he didn't help me out at all and caused me to get smashed and killed. But nonetheless, a mastery game there. You see over 3,000 damage, 3 kills, and probably could have survived if I didn't have all that help from my friend in the AMX. But there you saw a good demonstration of the strengths of that tank, moving around the map, getting in and out of trouble, using the speed and maneuverability and agility to get out of trouble and to put shots into the enemy. Ambush tactics, coming up behind and to the side, is what you want to do with this tank. Now this is with the Autoloader, so you can see I have over the 9 second over 10 second reload on the Autoloader, and a 3.5 second reload now on each shell, the 2 shells in the Autoloader. I just decided that it would be good to show you a game with both of the guns loaded up, so you can see the difference in style and how it affects gameplay. Now I've gone to spot out C. I'm going to try to spot the enemy up and see if I can stop them capturing C and put some damage in. But it doesn't really work out for me here, because we are going to get overrun here at C. You saw there the shot on the pattern. As I said, because that was over distance, it didn't pen. If that had been close up, it would have penned. And again, I go back to the lack of muzzle velocity with this tank. It causes problems. Now I'm getting rushed here. There are 3 tanks on me and I am in all sorts of trouble. And just look at this. This is not what you want. Wow, let's get out of here. I'm getting smashed in all sorts of places. This is nasty. Getting hit by the WZ. I'm getting hit by the pattern, and behold a pale rider, and death followed with him. I probably, in most situations and with most tanks, you would die here. But look, the little SP1C, my little spick and span, gets out of there. PDQ, pretty damn quick. He's out of there, he's gone. And this is what I'm saying about this tank. It is fast and agile, and you can get yourself out of problems. So I got into problems there, right? I got overrun. I was on my own, spotting up C, scouting, and all 3 of those tanks came in. 2 of them with big guns, and they just came right after me. But little spick and span, call me Harry Houdini, I was able to really get out of that. Little escapologist, straight out of trouble there. And I think that is one of the advantages of this tank. And as Nelson Muntz would say, smell you later, guys. Because this little tank is so fast, so agile, and its main advantage, as I said, and that gets me out of trouble. I'm able to get away. I didn't even have to use the engine accelerator. I'm able to get away, get out of trouble, regroup. And even though I'm not even a 1-shot, I'm kind of a half a shot to everything else that's left in the game, I'm actually able to rescue this game and put in a really good display in this little tank, despite a really horrendous start. Now in most tanks, if I'd gotten into that position, gotten into that trouble, I would have died. But this little guy is so fast, so agile, like in the previous game, just gets you out of trouble and allows you to escape and to live another day, to fight another day, and to do some more damage. And you can see that in this game, not only do I escape, but actually I rescue a mastery badge from this game somehow. And that's again showing the advantage of this tank is basically its speed. You saw there again another miss on the AMX there, and because that shot was over distance, as I said, anything around 300 meters, even actually over 250 meters, the muzzle velocity in this tank is going to let you down. So that's why I can't emphasize enough that this is a up close and personal weapon. It is the knife at the gunfight, as I said. As Sean Connery said in The Untouchables, takes a knife to a gunfight. So, and you are that knife in the gunfight. And speaking of The Untouchables and things in the US, a lot of the Untouchables are set in Chicago. Shout out to my friends in New York, particularly in the Royal Borough of Queens. Alright, yo, what up? And also out to all those guys in New Jersey, particularly subscribers. Alright, thanks for subbing, and I hope you're enjoying the video. So, sorry about the little, hope I haven't destroyed all credibility with my American subscribers. But I did get asked to do this by one of my good subscribers in New York, actually New Jersey, but originally from Queens. So I just thought I'd give a little tribute there with that, albeit dreadful American accent. Now, going back to the little tank here, again, it is a light tank, so now I am capturing. I'm going to get some more XP for capturing. And this WZ, by the way, that's left, is the guy who was tormenting me earlier, the guy chasing me down the hill. So he's going to get some nice revenge on him now. They're saying that he was AFK from the start, but we know he wasn't because we saw him chasing me down the hill, which is quite a funny episode in this game. And we also saw that he put quite a lot of damage into me. But here he is now, so he probably got disconnected. But of course he may get reconnected, so we need to take him out as quickly as possible. And actually, he's my tormentor from earlier, but as I found him, using the speed and agility of my tank, I get a bit of luck here. I get a bit of luck that he has been disconnected from the game. And actually he's been disconnected from, it looks like, from the time that I escaped from him earlier. And I do get lucky here, that's for sure, but I think I deserved that luck after my little escape, little Harry Houdini at the start of this game. And this look, I think, is well deserved, and I think I earned it the hard way, right? So I got the last kill there, and that brought me up to 2.6k damage, and that actually delivers a mastery badge in this game, which, when you consider the start they had, was probably inconceivable. But I think that shows a couple of things about this tank. Firstly, that it can get you out of trouble when you get yourself into trouble, as I did there. The speed of the tank allows you to get away and to live another day and to fight another day, as I did. It also shows you how important it is to keep your gun in the game. Even with only 58 hit points or whatever I had left in that game, I was able to go from having almost zero contribution to actually getting a mastery badge and doing a lot of contribution, clearing 2 tanks in that game. So let's recap on the key points about this tank. First phase of the game is the most dangerous for you because you don't know where those big guns are, so you need to keep safe during that first phase of the game, because until those big guns are spotted, you do not want to be spotted by them. You do not want to be their dinner. You want to keep yourself off the menu. Help yourself, of course, because you can spot and scout. You have that light tank camo that's active when you move. You're fast, you can get around the map. So spot them up, find those reds, keep yourself safe. You will benefit more than any other tank on the map by doing so, because you are their first target, you are their favorite meal. And then once they're spotted up, the map is yours. The tank is so fast and agile, it's such a small target, you can get around the map. Your greatest asset is your speed and your agility, so use it. Get around, in behind, ambush them. You're a small target, and that active camo and the over 300 meter view range means that you can spot up the enemy, keep yourself safe, and do a lot of good for yourself and your team. The single shot gun is my recommendation because it has higher DPM, but there isn't a huge difference. But long range sniping, which is often a good tactic in light tank, is not great in this because of that low muzzle velocity, as we've discussed. And as I said, I'll recap again. You're the knife in the gunfight, so get up close and personal, which is dangerous, but when you can do it well, it's great fun. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. So cheers, Mush, and I guess all that's left for me to say is pants off.